All right, WBLS family, let's take a moment to celebrate two names that helped shape the sound of R&B and pop for the last 4 decades. Legendary producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Before they became one of the most successful production teams in music history, Jam and Lewis were musicians in the Minneapolis funk band The Time, working closely within the musical universe of Prince. But when they stepped into production, everything changed. Their breakthrough came with Janet Jackson and her groundbreaking album Control, followed by the iconic Rhythm Nation 1814. Proving that Jam and Lewis weren't just hitmakers, they were architects of a movement. And the accolades tell the story. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis have earned multiple honors from the Grammy Awards, produced over 40 Billboard top hits, and helped create more than 100 gold and platinum records throughout their career. Their impact was also recognized with the Legend Award at the Soul Train Music Awards, and they were officially inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, cementing their place among the greatest producers of all time. And of course, the music speaks for itself, from Janet Jackson classics like That's the Way Love Goes.
Like a moth to a flame burned by the fire. Blind, can't you see my desire? That's the way love goes.
To the record-breaking One Sweet Day with Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. To R&B staples like You Know What's Up from Donnell Jones, Tender Love by Force MDs, their catalog reads like the soundtrack of generations. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis didn't just produce songs, they helped define the sound of modern R&B. And decades later, their music still hits the same. Get ready to hear some great stories. It's Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Hey, what's up? It's just Nick, WBLS, and I am beyond excited to have the incomparable dynamic duo here. I'm talking about Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis is in the building.
I like what you wrote. Incomparable.
Come on,
oh,
because
I haven't been called that in a while. I like that one.
Yes, sir.
Incomparable.
with a catalog that you guys have, I mean, what are the words to explain your accomplishments and your contributions to this music industry? I can't even.
Yeah, I just say busy.
Yeah. busy doing what we love to do with the people we love to do them with.
I'm
Yes.
so ecstatic to have you guys here.
Thank
you so much for coming. Obviously, BLS loves you. 90% of our music that we play is hits that you've produced and wrote. So
We appreciate that. We owe WBLS a lot.
Absolutely.
I always say it's a team sport. You know, we just try to make good music. Y'all are the ones that make it the hit. When you put it out in front of the people, let them, consume it and buy it and listen to it and all that. So it's a team sport. It doesn't happen without
it is a
y'all.
team sport. But let me
Appreciate
be
it.
clear, it's got to be a hit.
Well,
you know
but
what I mean?
y'all
We
are the
can
ones
play
that
the
make it a hit.
music.
Well,
But
what-
when it's good, you help us.
Well, yeah, but to me, there's only three kinds of songs. There's good songs, bad songs, and hit songs. Two are arguable. Like, we can argue over what's good and bad, but hits are hits. So what makes it hit is the people. You play it, they listen, they consume it, they want to hear it. Keeps you going, keeps us going.
Yep.
And that's what everybody makes hits.
Wow. Well, it's different for you two for sure. Okay. And congratulations on that. So you guys have more Billboard #1 records than any songwriting and production team in history. When did you realize you weren't just successful, you were setting the standard?
I don't know if I ever realized that.
No, and I don't think of us setting the standard.
No.
To me, there's people. When you talk about production teams, the first one I always think of is Kenny
Gamble Huff.
Yeah, Gamble and Huff, Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. I mean, there's no Jam and Lewis without
Gamble and Huff.
Simple as that. And we've not only grew up with their music and loving their music, but they've become sort of mentors to us, giving us business advice, giving us, just parental advice. I mean, you name it.
What's the best business advice they gave you?
Ooh.
Well, it's not necessarily business advice, but Kenny Gamble said something to me that resonated because it actually confirmed or reconfirmed an idea or a thought that I already had. And that is that music, we call it the divine art. Mm-hmm. Music is the divine art, And music is supposed to be wholesome. It's supposed to nourish you. It's supposed to fill your soul. It's supposed to guide you to the right path. And it's our responsibility to do that. So when Kenny said that, it kind of reaffirmed kind of what our path was, and made sure that we stayed on that path, because it's easy to veer off, and chasing the quote unquote hit. But we just make music, and everybody else makes it a hit.
It's so interesting that you say that, because when I go through your catalog of hits, which the majority of them are my absolute faves that I would just play on repeat, back to back to back. And when I think about what makes it so addictive, I feel like I'm in another planet. I'm in another world when I listen to your music. So when you say that, it pieces it all together. 4 Seasons of Loneliness. I just heard that the other day, and I was like, oh my God, how obsessed was I with that song. Just the chords, the melody, the structure, Tender Love, the ballads, a lot of that is missing, where you can feel it in your soul and it moves you. So thank you for that, because I can go on and on of all the songs you have put out, and that feeling is still there in all of your music.
Well, we thank God for that. Because we just are the delivery system. It all comes from God. And then the inspiration of the artists. When you mention a Boyz II Men, a song like 4 Seasons of Loneliness would not exist without the inspiration of someone like Boyz II Men. So I think that's the key to it for us, is we pick artists to work with that really inspire us to try to do great work. And then that's the result of it, I think, in the best case scenario. And and Tender Love, interestingly enough, is one of those songs where we didn't know who was going to sing the song when we wrote the song.
Wow.
But we wrote it to a scene in the movie, in the Crush Groove movie.
Yes.
And so, and then it ended up being Force MDs, which was perfect. They were absolutely amazing for it.
I saw a video of an interview they did recently where they were saying how they were on you guys about putting drums in it.
Yes.
And thank God you didn't.
Yep.
Because it made the song that much more powerful and emotional. So do you remember what that was like?
Totally. They were great. And it was funny because was it Jesse that was the one that was always
He always cutting up.
He was always cutting up. He was always like trying to, rest in peace, but he was always trying to like, man, we need to add drums, man. Let me sing that part. He was just the one that was always, kind of doing it. But they had a great energy, and they knocked it out so fast. They really sang quick, did their harmonies, did everything. And it was a great experience doing that. And that actually, Tender Love was actually our first top 10 pop record.
Wow.
At that point in time. So, thank you to the Force MDs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine it with drums. I think it was just perfect.
No.
And I saw an interview, because you guys have been working together for over 40 years, friendship over 50 years. And I remember you said that you guys have never had an argument, only disagreements, which to me makes the difference, because after you, there were a lot of producers who would do the two duo type productions. And, some of them have split along the way. What is the key to you guys still working together after all this time?
Well, I like to say respect. Got to say it 3 times. Respect, respects, respect.
On that.
In a simpler term, it just means that you give the respect that you want. You wish for someone else the things that you would want for yourself. Everybody wants to be free to do what they want to do. Everybody wants to be prosperous. Everybody wants to be healthy. They want their family to have good things. So you wish that for your partner. And I wish whatever Jam wants for himself, I want that for him, because I love him that much, and vice versa. So it works out. It's a mature attitude, I call it. It's very non-selfish, non-abusive.
I think when you talk about non-selfish, I will say the most unselfish person I've ever met in my life is Terry Lewis. And I think he taught me a lot about being unselfish, just as a person. And one of the things that was our foundation when we first got together and started, writing songs together and doing all that, we basically did this. And that was our contract. Our contract is 50-50. And what that did was it eliminated, when you get together and you start writing songs and you create, and all of a sudden you're like, well, that's my melody. Well, that was my lyric. Well, that was my music, but that was my. And you start nitpicking over stuff. I remember we used to hang out with LA and Babyface, which everybody found really funny because they thought we were like competitors.
Right.
Which we were, I guess, but we were friends. I mean, to us, we were competing with everybody out there on the charts, so it wasn't that kind of thing. But it was interesting. I remember we had a conversation with them, and we talked about one of their songs, and I can't remember what it might have been, one of the Boyz II Men songs or something they did. There was a big hit, and we just said, because they said, we want to be you guys. And we said, okay, well, you want to be us. How do you do your splits on your songs? And they were like, oh, well, on that song, he got 75%, and he got 20%, and he got 5% or whatever. And they're like, no. I said, we do it 50-50. And they said, oh, I'm not sure if we can do that. It's like, okay, that's fine. Because it's not saying it works for everybody, but what it does is it allows us to be what I like to call together individually. So we are always together. Terry can write a song all by himself, which happens sometimes. I hear a song on the radio and I go, when did we do that, Terry? And he'd be like, yeah, that was. But it's like literally, it's 50-50, so it doesn't matter. So that allows us to each be creative in the way we want to be creative, do the things we want to do. And at the end of the day, it's always Jam and Lewis. A good example, the Beatles, Lennon and McCartney, that's the way they worked. I always thought of them, they were sitting in a room together and doing everything. But a lot of songs were just Lennon songs, and a lot of them were just McCartney songs. But at the end of the day, they took joint credit, and that's the way we do it. And that, to me, allows us to just be creative in a great space and do the things we love to do.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So when you had the disagreements, was there ever a time where maybe he had an idea about a song that you didn't think would work out and it did, and vice versa?
No, there's always those instances, but
is there one that comes to mind, like, you know what, did you come back like, you were right?
I don't think we've ever had to say that, because what reveals itself is not what's right or what's wrong, it's what's best. And that's what we choose, is what's best for the application. And, it's ever changing. Like, what's right now can be wrong in 2 minutes. I liken it to crossing the street. When's the right time to cross the street? Oh, when the light's green for you, so you can cross the street. But what if the bus runs the light? Oh, okay. Well, is it okay to cross when the light is red and you can get to the other side? Hell yeah. So that's when it's best to cross.
I love it.
So I don't put myself in any kind of jeopardy. So you just have to think of life a little bit different. People are very rigid with how they think. We're fluid.
I love that.
We move with whatever it is. So a great deal now, I can sign the best deal as a whatever producer right now, and then somebody can come 2 minutes from now and make a better deal than mine, because my deal was the basis of his deal. So mine was best now, but mine is not best 10 minutes from now. So, you got to just let things be fluid, what they are. And I think a lot of people just get caught up in the hype.
Yeah. I don't think, it's funny because I don't think we so much disagree on songs, but I will say that the song that always comes to mind for me is Saturday Love, because when I thought of the idea for it, and I went to Terry, and literally from the time I thought of it, which I thought it was great, and by the time I got to Terry and started to play it, I was embarrassed by it. I was like, oh, this ain't so good.
What?
And so Terry said, what you got, man? I said, I got this idea for a song. I was all excited and stuff. He said, how's it going? And I'm like, yeah, it's it's sort of like the days of the week. Like, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like some Sesame Street. And he said, that's dope. I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah. And of course, we worked it up and it ended up being one of our biggest hits.
Yes.
But we never did. Here's a, I don't know whether you know this or not. Do you know the first verse and the second verse are exactly the same?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're like a true fan. So people give us credit for being geniuses on that, but to me, it's more laziness because we didn't have time to write a second verse. Yeah. It was just
definitely
lazy. So Sherelle had done her vocals. She was all done. And I said, Terry, we need the second verse for Alex to sing. He said, I'm not done. He said, just have him sing the same words. but do it in his way.
But exactly. That
Yeah.
did make the difference, though.
Yeah.
Where some
Oh,
people
absolutely.
probably didn't recognize that.
No, there's a lot of people that don't. Most people don't.
Yeah, the majority
Yeah,
don't.
majority of people don't even realize that.
Wow.
You know.
Well, the majority of people don't know words.
Yeah, true. That is.
That
true.
is so true.
Yeah, we make up words
Yep.
that kind of sound like it,
Yeah.
but not necessarily the lyric.
That is true. That is true.
It's a Saturday, love.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't know what the
That's
rest
right.
says.
That's right. As long as they know the hook. So, yeah.
That part. Well, I think a lot of people do know the words. It's
I'm telling you, we get teachers telling us that they teach our kids the days of the week that way,
beautiful.
which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Beautiful. And I hear a lot of your fans say, thank God that Prince kicked you out of the group. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these hits today. Do you feel that way? Speaking of fluidity, because everything happens as it should, right?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
like, I never say we got fired. I say we got freed. It's just your perspective towards it. But I think even if we had have worked things out with Prince, I think we still be in the same position, just a different same position. And it's like,
Are you sure? Because it sounded like he didn't want to share you with anyone, and I would see
well,
why.
but no, he didn't want to be in competition for our services with anyone. And so, at a certain point, that was going to run out anyway.
Right.
Even when we got in the time, Morris said, this is not going to be a forever thing here. This
Morris, yes.
is, he gave us the full Monty on that this thing wasn't going to be forever because he wanted to do some acting. He wants to do other things. So, don't just rely on this. Get your stuff together. And if you got ambition, go be ambitious.
Yeah, he was, and I just will shout out Morris.
MD.
Morris is the reason we're sitting here now, quite honestly, and but he was, as Terry said, he was very straightforward. He said, I know Jimmy and Terry are producing some things on the side, and he had no problem with it. He was perfectly supportive of that. And he said, I know they're doing some things on the side. He said, I'm taking some acting lessons. I want to try to do some acting. He said, I suggest everybody find something that you love to do and want to do it, because this thing ain't going to last forever. So he knew it. He knew it wasn't going to last forever. And
Because nothing lasts forever.
yeah,
I mean, I always tell young artists especially, you get the attention. I call it the window. So the window is moving. If you do really good things, you might extend the window. But no matter what you do,
it's still moving.
the window's going to be on somebody else soon. And you only have a limited time. Now, if you do some really good stuff, you can work the rest of your life on what you did when you were in the window. And if you stay in the window long enough where you create the good thing, the window might come back and you get, oh, what's love got to do with it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's how life works. Because otherwise, those forever groups like Earth, Wind, and Fire would still be the biggest groups on the radio today. And they are recurrent,
Right.
But I'm talking about they would still have the biggest hits today. But that's just not how it works. So we all have our limited amount of time in the window.
Yeah.
And luckily, as producers, we just get more opportunities to start new windows. So our windows are whatever we choose at that point.
The other thing that happens with us, I think, is our philosophy is getting past old is always the thing. If you think about, you have an old phone or something, and it's old and it's, dated, and you put it on the shelf or you put it in the drawer or whatever. And then all of a sudden you come back, I don't know, 8 years later, 10 years later, and you see that phone, and all of a sudden now it's vintage.
The iPhone 3, the small one.
Your little small
Right.
iPhone 3. Yeah, like all of a sudden it went from being like, now it's like, oh man, you got one of these. Like it becomes coveted and that. So I think one of the things that Terry and I have been able to navigate is what I call getting past old. And so now we get to do a lot of things that we haven't got a chance to do, whether it's, doing documentary things that we're into now, doing our live shows that we're into now. And we get to do these other things. And we've stuck around long enough where, because everybody's trying to replicate the 80s and the 90s, they're all coming to us now.
So glad you mentioned that.
They're all coming to us now,
Wow.
They're like, we need that 90s sound. It's like, oh yeah, we know how to do that, So it's really cool. But we've been, like I say, we've just been so blessed. and we get to do it together. And I have no desire to ever do anything without Terry. So it's cool.
Then thank you, Jimmy Jam,
Well,
so
thank you,
much.
Terry Lou.
Oh, I pray to have a friendship like this. I really do. Well, after decades of being behind the boards, why was now the right time for you to step into the spotlight? For example, at the Voltaire at the Venetian Resort.
Because we ready to do the worm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when
Put the spotlight
put the spotlight on us, we just start doing the work.
Yeah.
No, we started out as musicians. We were musicians first, and songwriters second, and producers only because we couldn't find anybody to do our songs better than we did as songwriters and musicians. So we said, I guess we have to produce it.
Yep.
It was never like, I didn't even know what a producer was. I just know how I want my stuff. And we were able to develop that. And what the funny part about it is now after, 40, 50 years of doing it, I mean, I think we're better than ever. So I don't understand why anybody would think that's old. And once again, I get a little bit confused when someone calls what we do old school. I said, well, what's old about school? Either you learn or you don't.
Ooh.
And how can you use my music as the base of your music and call my music old? It's older than yours. That means it's classic.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's old. It's actually valid because it was good enough for you to want to build your house on it.
Ooh.
So I just leave it at that. Like, so the old school moniker, some people like it. I think it's kind of a little disrespectful. It's either it's good or it's not.
Yeah.
If it's good enough for you to use, why would it be old?
Right.
I agree.
So.
Well, and I think for us, as Terry said, we started, local bands in Minneapolis. Prince had a band. Morris was in Prince's band originally. I had a band separate from Terry. But we all grew up doing live music. And back then you had to play, all the hits on the radio,
Right.
So that taught us how to make hit records by learning those other hit records and playing those. I also DJ'd, so I learned how to clear a dance floor or, pack a dance floor, with what
Great
I did.
DJ.
DJ Jimmy,
Yeah.
Jimmy Jam.
Oh, yeah.
That's how he got his
That's how I
name.
got my name.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
my,
yeah.
that was my
Jammin'
DJ
Jimmy, Jimmy Jam.
That was my DJ name. And so we learned all those things. So for us, it's just a return to that part of us. And, of course, the time, of course. So it's the live performance aspect. And we just said that's one of the things we want to do that we just haven't done yet. And now we get a chance to do it.
And what makes it so special is with all the hits, which, again, to kind of mimic what you were saying about the term old, when you have timeless hits, I don't think you can classify it as old because it still sounds relevant today. A lot of the songs you produce then, it's still being played everywhere now. So
It's school, just like Earth, Wind, and Fire is school, just like Isley
Yeah.
Brothers school.
everyone can't say they can do that.
No, everybody can't, but it just depends on how you look at life. To me, being respectful to the music, being respectful to those who are the creators of that music is very important to me, in every aspect. And even if they only did one song, let's be respectful of that.
For sure.
And because it's not easy. If it was so easy, I guess it's easier now because everybody can get on some AI somewhere and create a song. But how important is the field now? When the field used to be the 80 people that could do it, when everybody comes out of the stand and everybody's on the field, who's watching? Who's going to pay? How you going to get paid?
Yes.
So what you're doing is creating a mess. Still, the thing that's going to get you to have a visceral reaction is when you walk into a club somewhere and that person is singing or standing on stage playing an instrument and singing, and it gives you chills or it makes the hair on your arm stand up. That's the difference that AI can't give you. So, all those things are really important in the whole order of things here.
As is the shared listening experience.
And accountability
Yeah.
for all those things above. So, we just like to keep it real on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's something about playing. Once again, it's, you can listen to the songs that we've done. You can listen in your car, you can listen to wherever, but you can listen on your headphones. That's like a singular experience. But if you hear them live, all of a sudden you're sitting across from people. Some people you know might be your friends, might be people you never met before, and that song comes on, and you look at that person, and you're going, oh, in your mind, you're going, I remember when I was, I was in college when that came out, or I was this and that, and all of a sudden, for that, hour and a half or however long we do it, all of a sudden everybody is joined.
Yes.
Doesn't matter whether you're young, old, black, white, straight, gay, doesn't matter. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. Everybody's on the same page for that time. And that's what we want to be able to do. And that's, to me, the power of music and the divineness of music, as Terry says. And that's what we think this is. And the thing is, it's a soundtrack, like you said, a soundtrack of your life. Okay, so here it is. And we're going to enjoy it and have a great time together. And there's less and less, it seems, as the world seems very divided, there's less and less opportunities to do that. But music is the thing that can do that.
Yes.
So we want to do that. We want to use our music in a way to do that and make people have some great memories and get together and have a wonderful time.
Very much so. And then you never know who's going to pop out.
You never know who's
Oh,
going
my.
to show.
I would be screaming all night long. No voice the next day. Like,
No,
That's the fun part. And see, you got to come up and sing. Give me that.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
so what artists are you listening to today? Is there an artist that you feel like is keeping all of that alive that you just mentioned?
Well, top of my list, and I've always said for the longest time, probably for 25 years at this point, whenever somebody would say, who haven't you produced who you would want to produce, I always say Sade is always the top of my list. And the person that right now currently reminds me of her, not the way that her voice sounds, but just kind of her style, is Olivia Dean. And I had a chance to
classic voice.
Yes, and I had a chance to actually give Olivia Dean a Grammy a few weeks ago at the Grammys.
Yes.
Before the show, and it was so cool. But yeah, I love her. I love what she does, and she's probably she's top of mind for me, and somebody we'd love to work with at some point.
Yes, and I will name a young lady that we had the pleasure, the honor of working with, Kehlani.
Yes.
Who I absolutely adore, just because she is one of those kind of artists who knows what she wants. And she is like in there campaigning for whatever it is she wants, and I love that. She'll fight for what she believes, and it's not a lot of people like that anymore.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to hit, but nobody wants to work for it.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's right. No, she works hard.
She works hard.
She really does.
Well, I have three that I would love for you guys to work with.
Okay.
Sna Allegra.
Oh,
Okay.
We got one with her coming. Oh yeah, we got one coming with her. Okay, so check
Mark
that one
that
off the
off,
list.
okay.
Yeah, we sure do.
Yebba.
Oh, love
Yeah.
Yebba.
Oh,
We spoke
my.
about her.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Couple
She's
times.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
And have you worked with her?
Yes.
Well, we had a #1 record with her.
Yeah, I
actually.
mean, like recently, because she's been taking a little hiatus, and we're waiting for more music. But I would love.
She's working on new music now, and she interesting thing. We actually have a record in the can with her. That's very cool. That will see the light of day at the appropriate time, along with a couple of other female prominent artists. That's pretty cool. I can't really mention anybody else's by name, but yeah, it's very cool. But yeah, we love her. I mean, she's amazing. And I will say, kind of along the lines of what Terry was saying about Kehlani, it's interesting because Damage, which was, of course, sampled, well, it didn't, interesting enough, it didn't sample Making Love in the Rain, because part of the reason we worked together was because they couldn't get the sample cleared on the record. So, but in her mind, I remember her manager and a couple other people were like, well, maybe next time or maybe whatever. And she was like adamant, no, this is the song. I guarantee this is the song. She was adamant about it. And finally we ended up, they said, do you have all the instruments you made that record with? Of course we do. We can make that record. And we basically recreated the record.
Wow.
And then, through the genius of the mixing, I think it was, did Jason Joshua do that mixing?
I think so.
Yeah. So they made it sound, he said it took like 70 takes in order to make it sound like a sample, but it was almost like recreating what we had already done.
Wow.
But of course, it was one of the biggest records of the year.
Yes.
And then we got to perform on the Grammys with her,
Yes.
which was amazing. So it all happens, and once again, you have to have artists that do that. So like Terry said, Kehlani's like that, Her is like that.
Yes.
These artists that really know what they want, they stick to it.
Leon Thomas.
Leon Thomas is great. I gave Leon Thomas a Grammy. That was very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
play that
but
guitar.
he's amazing. And but he's been around. He's like an overnight sensation that's been around for
Yes.
a long time. I remember his mom. I saw his mom at the Grammys, and she was like, she gave me a big hug, and she said, "I remember when I first told you about my son, and blah blah." I said, "I totally remember." So yeah, there's a lot of. It's interesting, the overnight sensation thing, because these people have all been working, a lot of them, for such a long time, and to hone their craft. But I think it's inspirational to see people like that. I think music, in that sense, is in a really good place. I love the Best New Artist category this year on the Grammys. A lot of diversity, but a lot of great artists across the board. So, and I will mention my favorite band is Khruangbin, if you're familiar with them.
Really?
Yeah, out of Texas. Yeah, I love them. They're my favorite, probably my favorite band right now.
Wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really worked directly with them, but DJ, the drummer, actually played on something we just produced a few months ago, and that's an amazing group.
So you guys are still very busy.
Oh yeah. Well, we were up for a Grammy this year with Sunny Days from Yolanda Adams, the album.
Yep.
Yes.
And we have a Peebo Bryson album that's coming out soon.
Yep.
Michelle Monet is like one of my favorites. I would love to do something with her. I think I know just what to do with her.
Monet.
Janelle
Monet,
Yeah,
yes.
Janelle Monet.
Yeah.
You get it right, Lewis. But but no, I love her. I just love her spirit,
Yes.
and she carries the spirit of Minneapolis. Like
Yep.
like we're kindred spirits.
Mm-hmm.
I just get her. I
Yes.
just know like where to go with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of great new artists. We talked about a few of them, but Raven Lenae.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raven. Yeah, I
we
love
did some
Raven.
stuff with her, with
Her
Raven.
range.
We're gonna do So we're gonna do some more stuff with her, which we're looking forward with Raven.
Another really good writer.
Yeah, really good writer.
Mhm.
And we got a couple of things with Charlie Puth on his new
He's
record.
so talented.
Yeah, love Charlie. He's
Professor.
great. The Professor, indeed.
Yes.
He did actually. We're doing it, or we're not doing it, but we're part of obviously a Jam and Lewis documentary. And Charlie's one of the people that sits and talks, but he sits at a piano and basically gives a whole tutorial on our chord structures and I mean, it's so funny to me, but he was very inspired by us. And actually, I mean, I think his second album, or the Voice Notes album that he did, they asked him, they said, "What kind of album were you trying to make?" And he said, "I was trying to make a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis album." And we were like, "Oh, okay." So now we're friends, but we worked with him on some stuff, which is very exciting.
The funny part about that is that's exactly how we work with the Human League, because that's what they were trying to do.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, Human League. When we John McClain, who was the A&R person at A&M Records back in the time, he was the one that connected us with Janet to produce Control, which is 40 years old this
Wow.
year. But anyway, the Human League was working on a record, and they sent it to John, and John said, "What are y'all trying to do?" And they said, "Oh, we're trying to make a Jam and Lewis record." And he said, "Well, why don't you just get Jam and Lewis to do the record?" And so he said, "You like the Human League?" We said, "Yeah." And so that's how Human ended up happening. Yeah.
Oh man, listen, the hits continue. They go
But
on
it's
and
all
on.
God's plan, God's
For
alignment.
sure.
Yeah.
Especially when you see how one thing led to another.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yep.
That is beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. So with this documentary, is there deets on when that's coming out?
When it's done,
Ooh.
it's we just saw the first cut of it the other day. It was really long, and so we need to do a little chopping on it.
Why? Can't split it up into 4 parts?
Well, we could. Yeah, we probably could.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I
It
hope
very
so.
well could
Honestly,
be.
honestly, it's long at this point, but it's missing so much that it needs to be longer.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
But as Jam said the other day, I didn't hate it.
Right.
You
It's
know,
tough watching
when you watch yourself, it's like watching paint dry, because I lived it already. I know what it
Yeah.
is and what it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone else that hasn't seen it, I would imagine it would be really interesting, because it was actually really interesting to me, because it reminded me of things that I don't think about
Forgot
anymore.
about. Yeah. I agree.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah, you guys, I believe you've done so much. I would hate to see it just super condensed. I want to see it all.
Ah, Lord.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what we can
The
conjure
behind
up.
the scenes and all of that, okay?
We'll see
That's
what we can
funny.
conjure up. But no, there's some good parts on it, and I think, and hopefully, once again, I think our relationship really transcends music. It's kind of, it's music is what we do, but I think the whole idea of partnership and talking about that and how that works and the dynamics of that, I think is an important part of it. And I think that comes across in the documentary, at least, the version that we saw. So I just think it's cool. And it's actually, the director is a first-time director, a gentleman named Jason King. He was formerly actually at NYU. He was the Dean of Music at NYU. And now he's the Dean of Music out in LA at USC. But he brings to it, his explanation was, when they asked him about, Jam and Lewis, would you be interested in directing? He said, they're Oppenheimer. He said there's a formula and there's a whatever. And he did like a thesis on it, like literally made it like a, you can get a grade on this, in school. And that's the way he's kind of approaching it. And I think that's an interesting way to look at it, because we can't see the way people see us.
For sure.
So I think it's good to have, Terry likes to say a barber can't cut the back of his own head.
Yeah.
So you got to have people that can see you from all sides. Because as artists, we're just always trying to look forward and figure out what the next thing.
Yeah, I guess if the formula is philosophy, maybe.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
Yeah.
Because every instance is different. Like I said, we just try to pick the best frame for every picture, and we keep moving to the next picture. Yeah, I'm really a forward slash.
Yeah, totally.
I'm always looking 5 years down the line. In technology-wise, I'm trying to find what's next.
Wow.
And I'm just like that. I get bored in the now, and I'm looking over there somewhere. So it's
That's the definition of a leader, though. So
yeah, totally. Well, that's the thing. Terry's always been the visionary. And I remember back, Terry, before we were in separate bands, but Terry wanted me to join his band. And I remember he would call me every day, Jam, you gotta join the band, And I'd be like, eh. And I finally did. And of course it was the best thing that ever happened. So I was like, I just trust him. He's got the vision on, when we built our first studio, he said, I found a building. I found a new building. It's like, a new building? We just, but I just follow what he says. I just go along with it. So it all works out.
I love it. So you had mentioned 40 years of control. I know you talk about Janet a lot, but when she first stepped into the studio, when did you recognize that she was different, that she had something in her outside of her brother?
Well, I think we knew from the beginning.
Yeah, we knew before she even went in the studio.
It wasn't like she chose us; we chose her.
Yeah.
We were asked. Well, we were kind of jilted on a project. Mm-hmm. And we had a project all set to go, and then the artist decided that she didn't want to work with us, and we said, "Oh, okay." We were rejected. So they asked us, who did we want to produce? We said, send over a roster. So we got a fax.
Mm-hmm.
Let's tell you how long ago that was. Mm-hmm. And on the fax, we had all these names, and we went down the names, and we arrived at Janet and parked. And they said, they said, well, how many do you want to do? Because at that time, producers were doing 2-3 songs per album or something like that, maybe 4. Mm-hmm. We said, no, we want to do the whole album. And that was the Control album. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was a shock.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted to take the time.
Yep.
That was back when, you could just get on the album. If somebody had a hit, you could just ride.
Right.
So everybody was trying to get as many songs on as many albums as they could, because your non-single was going to make as much money as the single on an album.
And what made you say you want to do a whole album with Janet?
Because we love Janet.
You just loved her.
Yeah. Well, we met her at a concert in Long Beach.
Time concert.
Yeah, when we were in the Time. So we always, we always just had the kindred spirits once again. And Janet was always that sassy Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she was.
Yeah. And, I'm drawn to non-politically correct things. I like the sass. I like the edge. Because, straight no chaser. And
I think she had so much of that as a little girl, and as if you saw her on the Variety show or you saw her on the Cher show or these shows, and she always had all this feisty attitude. And then her 2 albums that she had done, there was none of that attitude really there. So we just thought, as we figure out our formula, that our formula was, let's give her those kinds of aggressive tracks where she can be that feisty young girl. But then subject matter wise, let's do whatever's relevant to her in her life. And what was relevant to her was she was going out on her own, and even coming to Minneapolis to record rather than in the comfort of LA. So no bodyguards. We got a Chevy Blazer to drive. We said, you got to drive yourself, a Thomas guide, for anybody that remembers those. You got to be old.
Wow.
Before GPS, because it was before, GPS and all that stuff. Here's the hotel, here's the studio, here's the Blockbuster video, here's the, the sushi place or whatever. You have to drive yourself, you have to get yourself places. So when she's talking about going out on her own, literally making that album in Minneapolis, that was kind of that experience. And then she got excited because she said, when we showed her the lyrics to Controlled, like the opening lyrics, when I was 17, I did what people told me, did what my father said, let my mother mold me. She looked at the lyrics and she said, this is what we've been talking about. Because we didn't even go in the studio. We just hung out just for like 4 or 5 days. And we said, yeah. And she said, so we're just going to sing whatever we write? Yes. Okay, and then I want to talk about this and I want to talk about that.
Wow.
And it was like the light bulb went off. And so we got Janet at a really good time where she wasn't trying to act at that point in time. She had actually herself decided, because it was really her dad's idea that she'd become an artist. And so those first 2 albums was, kind of her dad saying, this is what to do. This album was like his, Mr. Jackson just said, you're from Minneapolis. And we said, yeah. He said, Prince is from Minneapolis. We said, yeah. He said, don't have my daughter sounding like Prince. That was like his thing. So it was like, okay, Mr. Jackson. So I think it was the right, once again, God's alignment. It all came together at the right time.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And did you imagine Control being as big as it became?
No.
We didn't know how big it was going to be, but I think our intention for it was, at that time, we wanted to hear it in the community, coming out of every house and every car.
Yep.
And when we first dropped the album, and we started to hear singles, and they were coming out on the radio. People were driving by. You hear it in the community. You started hearing it in people's house. I think we achieved like the desired effect, because that's how you have what people call a hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because now it is part of people's lives, and it's transcended just being played on the radio. It's in their house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of their everyday life.
Yeah, I remember we lived where we had a place in L.A.
Cadillac and Corning.
And
There you go.
I remember walking down that street, and I'm probably going to Golden Bird Chicken or something, going to one of our places. And as we're walking down the street, you're hearing blasting out of people's house, you hear the Janet record. And that was when we thought, at that point for us, it was a successful record.
Yeah.
We didn't know about, Billboard charts and all that other stuff and crossover records and all. That was all cool. When that happened, that was great. But for us, it was just like, we want the hood to love what this is.
Right.
And when they did, that was, to me, that was the greatest thing. I will say we had a great advocate in John McClain. I mentioned his name earlier as the A&R guy. But besides the A&R guy, when he heard the record, he was the one that had to sell the record internally at the record company and say to them, you don't know what this record is. You got a record here. Like, he literally get on people's desks.
We feel it double platinum.
That's right. You're right. This is at least double platinum. At least double platinum. And everybody's kind of like, oh, okay, John. Okay, John. But he was adamant about that. And I remember we were looking at pictures the other day from the double platinum party we had. After the first 2 singles, we were already double platinum.
Wow.
And it was, I guess, vindication in a way for his belief. But yeah, we thank him for that. We've had a lot of people really support us over the years. Clarence Avon, who we also mentioned earlier, we can't not mention them. And we also have to mention Leon Silvers III, who was the Solar Records producer of the Whispers and Shalimar and all those great records back then. But he took us under his wing and allowed us studio time to just go in the studio and just create. Didn't charge us for it, just said, just go create songs. And we just had a lot of people looking out for us, and obviously Prince, who gave us the big break. So,
but you also have the talent. You have the talent for sure.
What to do with it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the opportunities were amazing.
Yeah, the opportunities, yes, continue to be amazing.
Yeah.
But the other thing I think is the defining thing is that we chose to define our own success. So success for us was just to set out on a goal and then achieve that goal. And it was never about how many records they had sold. We didn't even imagine any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Man, we would do this stuff for free. But now that I know somebody will pay me,
right?
Okay, cool.
I don't mind.
I don't mind. I don't mind, being able to make a living. But we never did it for that.
Yeah.
When we were willing to take a chance getting fired I just want to be creative. I want to do what I want to do, and I'll live with whatever the results are.
Yep. That's amazing, and your work shows it, your contributions. I just want to continue to just say thank you and give you your flowers because your music has gotten me through, all of my life, literally the soundtrack of my life. And so thank you for that. And I'm so glad that people are going to be able to hear all of these hits in Vegas. For those who want to go see it, like, what are the dates,
Yeah. So we start April 17th. It's the 17th through the 26th of April. The club is called Voltaire. It's a beautiful, intimate space.
Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous place. It's at the Venetian Resort, and nothing but hits is what we're calling the event because that's what it is. And we're going to squeeze as many hits as we possibly can into the show, which I probably will be 40 or 45 or whatever we can get in. But that's what it's going to be. But also we're going to tell some stories behind the songs. And we have, I think you mentioned earlier, but we have Ruben Studdard from American Idol.
Went to Alabama A&M with him.
Okay.
Good friend of mine.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, Rue?
Yeah.
We like that. And we also have Shawnice Wilson, Star Search winner.
Wow.
And when you think about people that can be versatile enough to do, on the male side, to be able to go from a Alexander O'Neal to a Johnny Gill to a Usher, to a Boyz II Men, that kind of thing. Ruben can handle that.
Yes.
And then you think
to
on
Luther.
the female
He loves
side,
some
to a
Luther
Luther.
too.
Oh yeah, and Luther he kills.
He kills
that.
the Luther. Yeah,
he kills the Luther stuff. So you have that, and then on the female side, if you think about Shawnice is so versatile, can sing anything. Whether you're doing Yolanda Adams, whether you're doing Sounds of Blackness with Ann Nesby,
yes.
Or if you're doing Janet Jackson. She's a Janet Jackson guru, and the Janet Jackson songs are really tough to sing, and Shawnice can kill them. She knows exactly what it is. So that's the foundation of what we're doing. And then, as we said earlier, you never know who's going to show. We did a show in Atlanta, and it was interesting. We started doing Usher, and Usher was kind of sitting in the front row, and we kind of got him. Ruben looked at Usher like, "You come up and sing your song, right? Come sing your song." And of course, he did. And so we have a lot of friends like that who we already know are showing up, and we'll get them on stage and have some fun, and hope people come out and enjoy themselves. Tickets are on sale right now. And they're telling us it's going to sell out. Voltaire is the place. VoltaireLV.com, I believe, is the website.
For sure. But we'll post all this information.
Love it.
I will make sure that I am there.
You're going to be there, right?
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Because,
all right.
Yeah, I know your catalog. Okay.
So what songs you want to do?
Yeah, what songs should we do? Like, what's the must do that you can't live without? If we don't do this song, it's gonna be
well, see, I like variety.
Okay.
So I want to hear Encore.
Okay.
I want to hear some SOS Band. Tell me if you still care.
Okay. Right.
I want to hear If It Isn't Love.
Okay.
I want to hear some Usher. I love, and it's not a track that most people would say, but Can You Help Me was one of my favorite songs on repeat. I feel like y'all really got him to like sing, because when he belted on that last note, I was like, oh, somebody pushed him, because
Terry Lewis, vocal master.
This is true.
Vocal master, yes. Yep.
Yes.
That's great. I love
but
it.
no, I mean, I can go on and on. I really could.
Okay, please.
couple more. Give us a couple more.
Mary J. I want to hear some Love Is All We Need.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite songs.
Yep.
I love the hits for sure, and everybody's gonna mention the hits, but they're, like I said, are records that I just Love Is All We Need was a great record for me.
Thank you.
Seduction from Usher.
Ooh, that's a crazy
For me
record.
and my feelings, I was like, whoo, the bass line on this. Because
Yep.
I went to A&M and I was a music major like Ruben, so I get into it.
Okay.
And I love, cadences and the melodies, and the bass line will always get me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Ooh, yeah, that seduction song, man. That,
woo.
Yep.
And the
That's-
guitar
that's-
riff, the dun, 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 dun. Oh my goodness.
that's kind of pimp right there. Okay, girl,
It
you
is
got
pimp. It's
you,
pimp.
By
you
the
got
way-
some taste.
Yeah, and you definitely got some taste. By the way, that reminds me, because we were talking about Kehlani earlier. So that was almost the blueprint for Folded, was Seduction. Have you ever heard the mashup of those two songs together?
You know what? I haven't.
Okay, but can you hear it?
I can hear it.
Yeah.
Yes. Once it comes in,
Yeah.
because obviously I think about the intro and the
Yeah.
strings and things like that.
But
But
just
then
that-
once it comes in,
Yeah, but just
yes.
that little guitar lick.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Seduction.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is such an honor and a pleasure to just be talking to you. You guys have no idea. I'm screaming inside, but I'm very professional. So, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, the dynamic duo. Thank y'all so much. And what do you want to say to your fans before, I let you guys go, what they can look forward to? Obviously, the documentary is coming, more music and collaborations. Is
Yep.
there anything that you guys missed out on?
No, I will just say that I appreciate everybody who have supported us over all of these many, many years. We enjoy what we do. Like I say, we love being busy, doing the things we love to do with the people we love to do them with. And so we're going to continue to be busy for as long as we can, and just appreciate all the support over the years. I will mention one thing we're involved with that I think is kind of important. We're involved with a charity called 100 Billion Meals, and the idea is to feed 100 or to serve 100 billion meals to people around the world that need food, for food insecurity. We have a track called Someday Has Begun that's on all the streaming services now. And be sure to check that out, and check out 100billionmeals.org for the organization. And we just think it's a use of music, kind of a la We Are the World, if you think about the way that was
Yes.
put together. But Her is on the song that we did, along with Stevie Wonder, who starts it off, but people also like Michael McDonald, like Tiana Taylor.
Wow.
It's kind of a smorgasbord of a lot of wonderful acts. And so anyway, that's something to keep your eye out for. Someday Has Begun.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for watching. BLS.